Hey everybody, this is Abby Langer, and I am here in Toronto and just isolating and here to talk to you today about my journey and things that I have learned in the course of being a dietitian for, oh my God, I think it's almost 20 years. It's 20 years. Wait. Yeah, no, it's 21 years this year. Oh my God. It's been a long time. Anyways, I'm sitting here in my bed because my family is all home, of course, and I'm just trying to get comfortable, waiting for people to come in. But um, during this time, like, feel free to fire out all your questions to me. I'm here to answer them for the next half an hour, and I'm just going to wait to see. Here we are. If anyone is going to join us. I know I'm a little bit early, so I'm just going to like ramble on for a couple of minutes to give people the chance to come in. And yeah, it's interesting seeing myself like on camera here in full isolation mode. Like my eyebrows have reached high school high school proportions. It's like I have to comb them. It's really, really bad. Anyways, I'm just about to start the actual live. I mean, I'm live now, but ooh, okay. I feel like I can't see if there's anyone on here. It's on Chrome. I don't usually use Chrome, but anyways, I can just start. So, welcome to my Facebook Live. You know me. My name is Abby Langer. I have been a dietitian for a really long time. I own a media and consulting, nutrition media and consulting company in Toronto, Canada, and my so handles are at Langer Nutrition for Twitter and for Instagram. Twitter, I mainly post like ranty stuff, and Instagram, I post just food, and then Facebook is Abby Langer Nutrition, where I post all my articles and all of that. I am coming out with a book in January 2021. I got a book deal with Simon and Schuster, so I'm super excited about that. The book's called Good Food, Bad Diet, and it's going to be really awesome. And as far as I know, the publication date has not been pushed, and because of this whole virus, and I'm about to submit my first draft of my manuscript, so very exciting. Anyways, how did I get here? So I actually wanted to be a commercial pilot. That's what I would have done if I wasn't a dietitian. But I was told, excuse me, early on that I couldn't be a pilot if I didn't have 20/20 vision and if I was bad at physics. And I don't have 20/20 vision and I got a 50% in physics. So I figured that was out. Otherwise, I'd be flying jets for Air Canada. So then I was like going to be a lawyer and all of that. And finally, I landed on nutrition because I grew up in a house that was very food centric. My father is a surgeon. My mom is a family therapist. And I was always very into like food and the human body, and all of that really intrigued me. So I did an English degree first because I did go through a phase where I wanted to just like party and maybe be an English teacher or something. And then I went to Loyola University in Chicago to get my nutrition degree. And when I graduated, I did my internship in California, and I ended up being an ICU dietitian for a really long time. I moved home and I was working in a level 1 ICU. I was a CNSD. I was like all into like the sicker, the better. Um, and it really quenched my craving for working with super sick people, like with their intestines falling out of their body and like, trauma victims and all of that. But eventually that really takes a toll on you. And uh, I moved to outpatient, and I was there for 10 years. And in that job, I got to see a lot of, pretty much you have to be a jack of all trades in outpatient, especially where I worked, because I saw people from cradle to grave. I would see newborns, I would see palliative, I would see people who had cockroaches falling into their food while they were trying to make their meals because they had no money and they couldn't afford a better place to live. Like I saw very wealthy people. It was a very interesting mix of people, and I still think there are very few nutrition diagnoses that I have not seen in my life and in my professional life. So I had my babies and I got a lot of experience in nutrition, and I thought I can't do this anymore. I really need to start my own business, because I was having my kids were being brought up by nannies, and um, I just I didn't want to work for somebody anymore, and I'd always done that, and you know it was really very scary, because my husband was like, "We're gonna live in a cardboard box. Like, what if what if you quit your job and we have no money? Like, what if you don't make it?" But that failure was not an option for me, and so I basically went part-time at my clinic job and started Abby Langer Nutrition. It was 2012. And and at first I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I was like writing horrible blog posts. I think I took most of them off my site. The pictures were really bad too. But as I got started, I started to find my strengths, and I started to use skills that I hadn't used in so long. Most notably, my writing. Which, I mean, I have a 4-year English degree, and I hadn't written anything but chart notes for years. So I started writing blog posts. I started to develop recipes, and I really wanted to get my thoughts about nutrition out there. And I knew that I had a lot to say. And if you know me, you know I have a lot to say about things. And I knew that I was the only one who could say it like that. And so I decided to just push the envelope, because that's really who I am, and that's who I've always been. I think I inherited my father's surgical personality. Um, and if you know surgeons, you know what I'm talking about. But so I ended up going full time at my business eventually. And I now have focused I've stopped seeing like clients one to one, because I really don't derive any sort of pleasure from that anymore. It's been, I saw clients for years and years. And so I've really turned my business into a business that does sponsored stuff with companies, and also nutrition writing. So of course, my book. But before that, I've done. I mean, I've written articles for Men's Health, New York Times, like all of that stuff. And I think it's really it's working for me for now. But I've learned to stay flexible with all of that kind of stuff, because first of all, I never wanted to leave the ICU. And then I left the ICU. And I never wanted to go into one-to-one, like outpatient counseling. I always thought it was so boring. I went into outpatient counseling, never wanted to own my own business. Then I own my own business. So, you know what? Like, you never want to limit yourself in terms of like your dreams or what you think you're supposed to be doing, because things can change with your life and you have to stay flexible. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'm not seeing any. Okay. So that has been my journey, and what the next 5 years holds, who knows? I mean, the book is going to come out, and hopefully, like another book deal, or whatever. I'm open, and in the middle of my career at my age. I'm in my 40s, and I think it's things have never been better or brighter for me. Um, how did I eventually leave the ICU? You know what? When you see people dying in front of you again, and like people were, I saw so many people die like right in front of my face. You need more than a vacation from that. You need to like get out of there. It was just so much. And then they did cut the FTEs. And I was like, I'm going to go do something else. So I actually went into GI after, and I ran a weight management business out of a hospital, and or under a hospital. It wasn't my own. And I was a clinical nutrition leader, like chief clinical, as they call it in the States. I think they still call it that, for a while. I've done everything really, but I loved the complexity of the patients. Like I would see we had a helipad on our hospital, and the helicopter would fly by the office window, and my office mates would be like, another one for you, Abby. And I'd go, and the chart would already be like this thick, and I could just go through the chart in 10 minutes, and I would be able to tell you exactly what was going on with that patient. Like, I really loved it. But you got to move on. You can't do that forever. So feel free to fire questions again to me. Oh, wait. When you start, did I have a mentor? You know what? Abby Sharp really helped me a lot. She was really good to me and really generous. And other dietitians, Kara Rosenblum, both of those girls are in Toronto. And there just other dietitians. I didn't have one single mentor. I honestly, my husband is in marketing. He helped me a little bit with it, but I definitely did not have a single mentor. I was very free with asking questions to my colleagues, and thanks to the generosity of my colleagues, I I really got the help that I needed. Things like what to charge for whatever service, and how to do my website, and should I be seeing clients, and how often. And Andrea D'Ambrosio, amazing. She works up here near Toronto. She was so amazing. She was the one who actually convinced me to quit my job. Andrea D'Ambrosio. She was fantastic. And I mean, I can't thank these people enough for helping me along the way. So sometimes people ask me what I've learned, because I guess my path, I mean, not a lot of people have taken my path, but I have a voice that is distinct. And I just want to go through things that I've learned over the past 20 years. The first one is that you can be yourself. Dietetics can be very conservative, and I'm not a conservative person. I'm not making any political statements here, but like, I've never had a tolerance for redundancy or bullshit. excuse my language. So even when I was in the hospital and they were like, you have to fill out this form, you have to wear a lab coat, you have to fill out this assessment form and don't chart freehand and all this stuff. I was like, why? It's silly. And instead of just following what everybody else had accepted and what everybody else was doing, didn't. I changed those rules because I didn't see the value in them. And I was myself. I found that you can be engaging and funny and a bit profane, but you can still be professional. You can still be evidence based. You can still wear, like whatever you want and be trustworthy and credible and an asset to this profession. You don't have to fit into that little type A box that a lot of dietitians fit into. I mean, I know I'm making a statement here, but you know what I'm talking about. You can be yourself and still be regarded as credible. And so that's what I've done. And that, I think, has been the single most defining thing about my career, is that I've just taken it the way I've wanted to take it and shown people that they still should be listening to me, even if I say the F word, or even if, like, whatever. I'm just edgy in that way. I still know what I'm talking about. Now, if you take that position, not everyone is going to like you. And the second thing that I learned is that you need to have a thick skin, because you're never going to please everybody. And even within our profession, unfortunately, especially now, there's a lot of divisiveness and a lot of infighting. It's very embarrassing, actually. And you're never gonna, there's always going to be someone, even another dietitian, who's not going to agree with what you say. And you just you need to be true to yourself. My dad, it sounds cheesy, but my dad always quoted Hamlet to me. And Polonius in Hamlet always said, or he said, this above else, to thine own self be true. And you'll never be happy unless you're true to yourself. So be it as it may, people may not agree with your message. And if you look through my emails and my social media, a lot of people sure as hell don't agree with mine, but you keep doing it because you keep on your track. And remember that when people are pissed off at you, you must be doing something right, because people are reading your stuff. And that's exactly what my husband said to me at the beginning. I remember I wrote something for the Huffington Post, and then I started to read the comments. Bad idea, always a bad idea. And some of them were so rude. And I said to Ryan, people hate me. They're being so mean. And he's like, that's great. Now you know that people are reading your stuff. Do you want people to not read your stuff? So it's a good thing. So just keep doing what you do, be yourself. And if you're going to be outspoken about something, it's great, but you need to choose a side. And I find increasingly that dietitians, I'm not trying to shit on our profession, but some people, I guess it's in every profession, they don't want to pick a side. They're too afraid. They don't want to take a stance. They're too afraid. Pick a side. Okay, you know where you fall. Pick a side and stay there. But if you do, and if you want to wade into a fray, make sure that you have evidence to back you up. Because I see a lot on social media where people are like, well, I think this, and this is the right way, and blah, blah, blah. And they have zero evidence to back up their claims. And this happens even with dietitians too, the evidence that they're citing is poor. it's like a rat study or a petri dish study, or it's a study that hasn't been replicated. Don't do that. Make sure that you have good solid evidence to back up your position. And that will help you when if people come at you and just say, like, this is the evidence. And again, not everyone's going to get it, but it'll establish you into a solid, it will give you a solid base. Um, any other questions? So one of the things that I think a lot of dietitians struggle with when they are looking to distinguish themselves or to go out on their own, is they're afraid. They're afraid that they won't make it. And I've counseled other dietitians, before they've left their jobs, and they were so afraid to go out on their own. I always say to them what I said to myself over and over again: why not me? Why not me? Why could, why shouldn't I be the one who's successful? And I repeated that mantra again and again and again. I want to be in the New York Times. Why not me? I'm just as good as everybody else. And it has gotten me so far, those 3 words. So think about it. If you are wondering if you can do it, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you be able to? Fear is a big factor. Thank you, Brittany. Yes. And yeah, it's real. Like, I had kids, I have a family that I need to help support, and it's scary, and there's never going to be a good time. It's like having a baby or getting married. Like, there's never a good time to do it. But when you want to go out on your own, take the leap, because it is, working for myself is the best thing I have ever done. I mean, it's ridiculous. Sometimes I laugh that I'm getting paid to do the stuff I'm doing, and that I sit on the couch in my sweatpants all day with the dog and write articles and go down to Starbucks and go to spinning in the middle of the day. I'm like, I could be working. Like, I mean, I would have been at the office seeing people, and of course, if you like doing that, absolutely continue to do it. But it's always worth picturing yourself in different situations, because, as I said at the beginning, life changes and you never know where you're going to be in 5 years. So stay open to that. Are there individuals or websites that are go-tos for me? Yes, I absolutely love examine.com for a website that I can use to look up supplements, and different ingredients. Like, if I do a diet review, for example, on some sort of fad diet where they have like a fat burner, for example, all of those ingredients are probably going to be on examine.com. And they they will take, you just search the ingredient, and then they break down all the evidence for and against it, and it's super easy to read. It's always current. I love it. That's big. Precision Nutrition, to a lesser degree, I do like them as well. And I do use, of course, Google Scholar, PubMed, but you have to be able to rely on your skills in those cases to figure out if the research is really solid. And I have to admit, at the beginning, I was like pretty bad at doing that. But I've really honed my skills in terms of like figuring out research and reading it and understanding. And I do go to certain people who I've met on social media, some epidemiologists. One in particular on Twitter, his handle is GIDMK, GIDMK. He's an epidemiologist in the UK, and he has spent hours with me online figuring out research studies that are like crazy hard. Just recently something came out and I was like, I don't get this research study. It's so crazy. And he like sat there and figured it out with me. So, you know, there are people, Kevin Klatt is another one on Twitter who's like really awesome at figuring things out. And they're willing to help you figure out the science behind things because they benefit from it too. We all do. We're all evidence based, and we're all fighting the trolls who like don't want the real science to come out, or they fight against it. So yeah, and any kind of government website, you know, I try to use regularly the USDA food database, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I generally will look at the research myself, and I use Examine very, very often. And one little note is when you look at the research, don't just read the abstract. Don't do that. Mm-mm. If you have a research study that you can't, if you have a research study that you can't access, ask somebody to access it for you and to send it to you. Do not go online and post something about a research study that you haven't read. Too many people do that, and it ends up backfiring on them because some of the research is just not very good. And so, yeah, just be careful about that. Any other questions? I'm almost done. I guess I just want to finish by saying, you know, if you decide to take your career in a different direction, don't be shy about asking for what you want, and don't be shy about asking other dietitians for help, because we're a very friendly bunch, especially in private practice and media, and we want to help other dietitians be successful. So it's business. You know, just it's tough, and it takes a couple of years to figure stuff out, but you can do it, and just continue to fight the good fight, and look out for, you know, the media overblowing things and all of that. Do the research yourself. Learn how to read a research study, and just, you know, just forge your path forward. Don't stay stuck in a box. Be who you want to be. You can do it, and you can be who you are and still be successful. Don't be afraid. We need more dietitians who are willing to step out of the box and over that line and talk about things in a real way. It's a lot of fun. And as long as you're following your regulatory bodies, their policies, you can express yourself the way you want to. So anyways, I'm going to end here. Oh, what is the one goal you have for 2020 after the pandemic ends? Yeah, to go outside, to go to the grocery store. Well, my book is going to come out January 2021. So I'd really like to, you know, enjoy that and have a book launch party. But I don't really have a goal for after the pandemic. I mean, just to continue on working with clients, like industry clients, and that's about it. I mean, I'm so busy right now. Thankfully, the pandemic hasn't affected my work, but I'm lucky for that. And yeah, all right. So my name is Abby Langer. As you know, Facebook, I'm at Abby Langer Nutrition. On Twitter, I'm at Langer Nutrition. And Instagram, I'm at Langer Nutrition. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm always here. I work 24/7. That's something about owning your own business that I didn't mention, but now I'm mentioning it. And please stay safe and healthy in this horrible time. And let me know if you need anything.